show's about to rock. We salute you. So thank you for coming and watching us on the Get Busy Livin podcast with the wonderful Joanne Brooks. So thank you very much, Joanne, for coming on and being a guest today. I'm Dr. Scott from Six Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club, and we appreciate your time. And we thank you so much, and we understand how busy you are. And we're looking forward to hearing some gold nuggets of information today.
Oh, no pressure.
Yeah, you better deliver. Stand and deliver.
Yes, indeed. No, all good. All good, all good.
So I'll start off with my usual question, Joanne. So tell us, what gets you out of bed every morning?
I've an 11-and-a-half-year-old Belgian Shepherd that wants to be fed at 4:30 in the morning. So that definitely gets me up out of bed physically. Absolutely. But to answer more on context and a little bit more seriously, for me, I'm at the stage in my life that I simply want to help and serve others. And particularly, I want to time compress the things that I've learned over 30, 40 years in my career, whether I've been an entrepreneur or a corporate worker, to share what to do, what not to do in business and how to grow and scale a business, and to help, as I said, time compress those years of learning and share that with my clients, because there's a long number of years there, and we're a community, or in the world today, we want quick answers. We're not prepared to wait, all those sort of things. So I aim to tick that box for people in business, particularly female entrepreneurs. Particularly, that's what gets me up every day. I love what I do.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that for the community. Thank you so much, Robin. So we appreciate that you do that for us, and it's very important, because without small business, the world will crumble. So
absolutely, we are the foundation of this nation and of this globe. I totally understand that. Mm-hmm.
So just going by your website, your LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
So you're the circle builder, the RTOs, online programs, coaches, speakers, professional training, compliance and sustainability. And as you said, you've been doing it for 30 years. So tell us, what got you into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll start at the beginning of my my career. I started in banking. I didn't have a choice of what I did when I left school. My dad said 18 I was in 1980, showing my age now, and he said, "You'll go and get a job." And that was the mindset of my dad, and I didn't know any better. So I worked in banking for a long, long time, and towards the end of my banking career, which was about 20 years, I ended up teaching people how to write loans, but I was teaching men how to write commercial loans, so fund the finance of a shopping centre and fund the wiring in the walls. And that was something that was a tricky thing for me to lean into, because I was an incredibly shy person, and you couldn't say boo to a goose for me when I was a young person, when I first started my banking career. And I can't tell you how many times I got asked, "What do you know, girlie?" Literally those words. But
really?
I had a career of having done it for a bunch of times, that I could give them, well, here's my case studies, here's my live files, let me show you. And if you know how to do that, see you later. Don't let the door hit you on the backside on the way out. Or how about you stay and listen and learn? So at one point in my life, I had some personal circumstances change significantly. I became a widow at 38, and I decided within about 12 months that I would leave my career and I would start a business. And I would do exactly the same as what I've been doing. They'll all just come because everybody comes to my workshops, and I'll have lots of time, flexibility, and money. Well, we all know as an entrepreneur that what a load of rubbish that is in the early days of your business. But I naively thought that was going to be the case. I had a young daughter who was 5, and I wanted more flexibility, and I didn't want to put her in daycare before and after school and all that. She'd been doing it for all her short 5 years in her life, and she had a longer day than I did. She had a much longer day than I did. And I wanted to change that. So I decided to start my own business. Thank goodness I had a mentor who said, "Joanne, you know better. you should be doing this differently. And so he gave me a nudge, and I did realize that what I was doing wasn't going to be sustainable. And so I had a number of opportunities come my way that enabled me to stay in the education sector. I got involved in registered training organisations. For those who don't know what that is, maybe there's some people listening from outside of the country. It is a heavily governed industry where people can come and achieve certificates, diplomas, graduate diplomas. So it's in between school and university for context. Outside of Australia, you might think of them as trade colleges. So it's a heavily regulated industry. I was able to buy one, start my own, did both, and I built one to $30 million in 24 months. But that had 25, 30 years of understanding what it was, having worked in corporate. And
you had that foundation. You had that foundation.
Had all the foundation. And the way I did it was I brought in, this is an incredibly important piece. This is what I do today. I had my organisation. I had my student. They were only business owners, and they did a diploma of business. But I wanted to escalate their learning, because online learning is lonely. The completion rate is absolutely appalling. It could be anything from 3% to 20%. It's ridiculously low, because people think online learning, the people who deliver it's going to be easier. They're going to do it. I don't have to do much. The person who's doing the online learning going, this is so lonely, I don't know what to do, and I don't know who to talk to. So I decided I needed to do something different. So I brought in all these experts around the subject matter of my programs and said, I want you to do workshops. I want you to do mentoring. I want you to help my students understand this content better, and I will pay you for the privilege of doing that. So I collaborated, or I brought these businesses in, and then I went and knocked on my largest competitors and said, you've got funding, I don't. This is what I do. I charge 7 times what you charge, and I'm going to give you a percentage of my large fee for the pleasure of your funding. That helped me build a $30 million business. So collaboration and partnership to build what I delivered, collaboration, partnership with people outside my business to help me grow and scale. But I also liquidated that business because the pace was insane. You can probably appreciate, from a couple of staff, few students, to 200 students a week, to 110 staff in 24 months. The pace was crazy. And so I often talk about the pace of growth, is that you should manage that pace of growth. So I liquidated it. What was harder? Growth in 24 months than 7 years to liquidate a business. I can, hand on heart, I can tell you that growth at 24 months to 30 million was hard. So many micro moments.
I was going to say, that's crazy.
And I had a lot of
You don't hear that. You don't hear that very often.
Growth is hard at that pace. So I talk today about, this time compressing thing, all the lessons I learned in that fast-paced growth, in that slow wind down of a $30 million business over 7 years, so many lessons that I bring today to help people understand how to start their own. So two streams to my business: how to start their own registered training organization, how to keep the license, how to deal with audit, a whole bunch of work over there. And then a whole bunch of work, which I talk more openly on LinkedIn and these sort of forums, is to help establish service professionals. Because they're service professionals, they've probably got some sort of speaking arrangement, whether it's podcasts, it's on the stage, whether it's video, YouTube, wherever they're doing it. They've written a book, and now they're thinking, okay, I thought all these things were going to escalate my business. It hasn't quite happened. But what I recognized was the book has so many words, only so many. The speech has only so much time. And the blogs, the podcasts, the posts, the articles only have so much reach. What can you do to go deeper, wider, and with so much more clarity and impact for your clients is creating online courses. But I've just spoken about how online courses are so lonely and people don't do them very well. So my goal, because I consistently achieved 85% completion rate through my organisation, because I understood what it took to support a learner, so bringing in these experts, as I said before. So now I work with, as a different part of my business is I work with service professionals who are at that stage, who are ready to create a wider impact, one-to-many. Instead of doing one-to-one, they can serve one-to-many and provide that client with such a deeper, richer experience, because you can do that on an online program. You can talk more. You give, limit to words. You can be present there as much as you like, whether it's recorded or face to face, or virtually in a group meeting situation. You have all that opened up for you. So that's what I do today as a result of all the things that I learned. There's a lot more detail in the growth piece, but that's essentially where I've landed today, and that's what gets me up every day.
Yeah, that's big. You got big kahunas, Joanne, because you went to your opposition and
yes,
was willing to negotiate, and like you said, you're willing to give a commission. A lot of people wouldn't think of doing that.
No. Yes, you're right.
And also, but it's a win-win for everyone, because you know that
it has to be, right? Yeah. And
you're basically getting a loan, but you're paying them back at a commission from whatever you sell. So that means that you had a lot of confidence in what you were able to provide. Yes, that service.
And that required a lot of research to understand, because we were both RTOs. I held the license, they held the license. They just had government funding, I didn't. So I got a lot of no's, no doubt about it. And so my keynote speech is around collaboration. And so what do all the letters mean? Because what I see and hear time and time again, Scott, you're an amazing fellow. Let's collaborate. Let's do some stuff together. And that's as far as that conversation goes. And then off you go and do something together. And it's just fraught with danger. So people do it with friends, with colleagues, with people they don't even know very well. And so, when I collaborate with people, there's always a contract in place. We know who does what. We know what responsibilities are. We understand what it means to step away from this collaboration. And financially, what's in it for each of us? Because there's no point, like, we're all in business to make money. And I think there's a lot of people, and I will say a lot of women, who think, the money part will just come. And it's a bit of an icky subject. I don't want to talk about it. No. We need to talk about it at the very beginning. Who's going to do what? Yeah. How's it going to work? How are we going to exit? Who gets what share of what because of what you're doing? And therefore, when the other party, because things will go wrong. I've heard of people who have lost friendships, who will never talk to that person again. And it's the fault of both of them, because they didn't sit down and go, how are we going to do this professionally? Like, we're in business. Approach it with the professionalism that it deserves. And so for me, collaboration has always been my biggest success metric in everything I do. Who's got my audience in spades, or who's got something that I don't have in my business that helps me escalate my impact? I'm always searching for that.
And theirs as well.
It has to. It has to be a win-win. It can't be a one-sided at all. Otherwise, you're just a supply to somebody. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's a lot here to digest. There's a lot here to digest. I've got 1,000 questions for you, but I was going to say, so did you do any formal education while you're in the finance?
Yes, for sure. I went. As I said to you, I didn't have a choice of what I did when I left school. I only wanted to go to university, and my dad would not give me that chance. So I did do whatever education that was on offer within the finance industry. And so I've got a bucket load of certificates, diplomas, advanced diplomas, just did them and had written a whole bunch of them. And it was only last year that I completed my master's degree through an organisation that I've worked with for the last 25 years, which is another piece that I do, in my business. And it's about bringing MBAs to Australia for entrepreneurs. And a lot of people just roll their eyes and go, why would I want to do that? It's a lot of money, a lot of time. What's the relevance? All those sort of things. But it was always on my bucket list to undertake a university experience, because it wasn't afforded me. And which is weird, because my dad was he was an engineer. He went to university and avoided going to World War II. So it's very strange, but he had old school ideas of what women did, and me was to go and get a job.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. I treat a lot of elderly people that are in the baby boomers, and they're in the twilight of their life, and that's the way it was for them. women didn't get a choice. So
Correct.
But you had a better chance of finishing school.
Yes.
But,
and I got accepted.
You didn't get a choice.
I just didn't have a choice.
You didn't have any life choices.
Exactly. So I've always, education's always been a basis of what I did, because there's no point I always felt that whilst I'm delivering education through the various organizations I've held or owned, it was important that I continue to do that. And, I feel that, a lot of business owners, small business owners, micro business owners will possibly be listening to this and be going, seriously, really? I've got years of experience. Why do I need to get formal education? And in some aspects, you don't need to. If you don't need it for licensing, if you don't need it to win grants or collaboration or tenders and those sort of things, or you don't want to work in corporate, cool, don't do it. But don't stop reading. Don't stop listening to podcasts like this. Like, that's all part of the learning journey in my mind. And so there's always a variety of things that I'm looking at and observing. But I was super, super proud that I achieved my MBA last year. At 63, I thought, damn, I didn't think I was ever going to do that. And I did enter it with a bit of trepidation, because I thought, I've never been to university. How academic is this going to be? It's going to be beyond my my capacity. But it was an amazing experience. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was awesome.
So just for the audience, what's an MBA?
Master's degree in business. And so it's something a university offers. So in the vocational sector, where the RTO place sits, Registered Training Organisation, you go from certificate 1, 2, 3, 4, diploma, advanced diploma, graduate diploma. That's the range in Australia. Then you go to bachelor's degree, which is university. Then you go to master's. Then you go to postgraduate, where you can become a doctor or something. So master's degree is up there at the other end of university. And, there's a thing in corporate that they just want to see a bunch of letters at the end of your name. And it's been something that's been around for eons, years and years and years. And it's interesting. Like, I've often said to people, look, you've got an MBA at the end of your name and you hold a leadership position. When you got that position, did they ask you what your MBA was in and what you did for it? Yeah, no. Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? So interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a whole other conversation we can have.
Okay. And did you get that recently, the MBA?
Yes, just May last year. And I will say to you, the final project, because there's the particular organisation I did it through, I've known the owner for 25 years. There's no exams, and you just work on projects, and the projects are on your business. So it helped me to rebrand what the Navigate Biz looks like as a result of my project, and it completely changed what I did in my business, and completely changed the narrative to change it to Circle Builder as a direct result of my master's degree. So it's had a huge impact, positive impact on my business by completing my master's degree.
Yeah, right. Okay. In what way? What way is it?
So as I said, it rebranded, changed the narrative, but I ran some analysis of it, and it increased my profitability by 250% and increased my client base by 500%.
Wow. And what was I going to say? This goes to because everyone needs to crunch the numbers, yeah? Every business needs to crunch the numbers. Mm-hmm. And they need to crunch, and they also need to monitor their tracking their
performance,
performance, I think that's a better word.
Yeah.
Because the service can decline, and of course it can also increase.
Yep.
So how important do you think that is, Joanne?
Well, you're probably asking the wrong person, because I come from commercial lending, right? If you remember what I just said, I spent 20 odd years in banking, and I can't tell you how many times I'd have a business owner come to me looking for finance. They'd give me this wonderful cash flow forecast, which was on a spreadsheet that told me they were going to earn a whole bunch of money, which looked very different to the numbers of the actual performance of the business. And I'd have the audacity to say, so how are you going to do that? And they go, what do you mean? I said, so what are you going to do? You're going to knock on doors? You're going to do marketing? You want to know that? Yeah. And so one of the things that I've been deeply passionate about is financial literacy in small business ownership, because A, talking about money can be considered a bit of an icky subject. B, how many times does your accountant pass you your paperwork, your BAS, your profit and loss, your balance sheet, your financial statements, and you just sign on the dotted line, and you might look at them and go, oh, that's not, oh, that's good, that's bad. Or why isn't that net profit figure in my bank account? I don't understand. And it's super interesting that I've always believed when you've got good data, you can make great decisions. So people who don't understand the metrics of their business, and how many LinkedIn posts or how many calls does it take to secure that one client? How much is that client going to generate income? But there's one extra piece that has always concerned me, and I'll share a story. I had a client, and she was looking to price her product. And she shared with me that she delivered her service, which took 2 hours. And I went, wow, that's 2 hours to deliver this. But she did an analysis, a profiling tool. It took her 2 hours to deliver it. I said, do you know how profitable that service is? What do you mean? I said, so when I owned a $30 million business and I was enrolling all these students, every single client, I knew the profitability of their transaction. You went to that level? Yeah. Because if I was consistently earning 5% or minus 5%, I would wonder at the end of the year, where's all the money gone? Why don't I have any money to do things? And so I asked this client of mine, I said, so what's the profitability of your service? And she said, I don't really know. I said, okay, let's share the screen. Let's put it into a little analysis tool that I've got. And it was a product that was, she charged $500. It took 2 hours to deliver. What's the hourly rate? Oh, well, maybe $250. Okay, cool. What's the cost to run your business? Oh, that's a lot, Joanne. Okay, cool. We ran it all in, and I said, look at that number. She said, it's red. I went, yeah. So you have a few choices. Do you up the price of the product, or do you fix the expenses in your business through your subscription?
Cut costs. Yeah.
And she said, I did not realize. I said, and there lies the problem. When you're applying for tenders, when you're doing quotes, when you're collaborating with somebody, do you actually know the product profitability of the service you deliver? Do you know what it costs you to run your business? And when service professionals ask me, so, but I don't know what I charge per hour. I said, well, you jolly well should. And I said, so it could be $500 an hour. It could be $50 an hour. You tell me. But I don't actually create anything, Joanne. It's just time. I said, and that time that you're using to deliver is time that you're not generating income. So that's your cost per hour, if you even just look at it from that perspective. And often, you just get a bit of glazing, and I know my client went, oh my gosh, I feel quite sick. And I went, well, I appreciate that you do, but here's an opportunity, and will people pay more for your service? Well, I've never asked. Well, how about you ask? Or how about we look at your expenses and so how many subscriptions do you have? Oh, there's so many. And how often do you look at them? I look at mine every 2 months before the BAS. Oh God, how did that slip in? Get rid of that thing. I don't need that. I don't need that. Or can I reduce it? Because those subscriptions, they add up, right? Oh my gosh, they add up a lot. So anyway, so knowing your numbers, a long answer to your short question, is vital in business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Brad, I follow Brad Sugars. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, I have. I used to sell
he talks
him
about
he
talks about pulling levers. So there's only 2 ways you can increase your profitability, and that's
exactly
like you just said, increase your
reduce the other.
Yeah, increase your service price or reduce your costs.
Exactly.
And that's what he said. You just got to pull a couple of levers, and then the business works on 8 cylinders instead of 4.
Correct. Correct.
And that's so exactly, and he's a billionaire, so
he knows a few things.
Just a couple.
Just a few. Yes.
I like his marketing idea. He says to create 2 business names, and then have a catering for the lower sector of the market. And then give it another name to another business that caters to the higher sector.
Yeah.
So your demographics are different.
Yeah, correct.
and then
You're not
you
confusing the audience. Yeah.
Then you're fighting.
Fighting
Your two businesses
yes.
are fighting against each other.
Could be good or
That's
bad,
correct.
Scott. Could be good or bad.
Well, he's not saying it for no reason. Obviously, it's for
Exactly. It's clearly worked for him. Yes, indeed. And I did that in my RTO. I had a light version of my RTO and I had a high end. So a $35,000 diploma and a $5,000 one. People went there for different reasons. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Yeah. So and he talks about. He says that your business is run by your marketing. If your marketing is down, your sales will be down. So then your profitability will be down.
Yeah.
He said that's what he says. Marketing is the most important. Well, I mean, McDonald's spends billions and all. Was it 1.2 billion a year?
Yeah, and they keep it simple, right? They keep it simple. You look at their ads, and it's always I don't eat McDonald's, but it's the Big Mac, and it's whatever. Like it used to be $2.50. It's probably $12. I don't know what it is anymore, but it's always the same, and they're consistently turning up the same way. And I'd say the same for. I agree with Brad, but I also agree that whatever platform you choose to talk about your business is consistently tell them why you started it. So many people need to know the story behind why you started this thing. And I think it's even more important today where we're flooded with AI and we don't know, are you real? Like I had a phone call again yesterday and I was talking to it and I went, you're actually a bot. You're not real. Beep, hang up. But, it's so realistic that I think you turning up as yourself and doing the video or the audio or the post, but sharing why you do it, what's the consequences of what you do and how you do it. I think you just have to consistently turn up and talk, be prepared to talk about it. And I think what a lot of people don't do is talk about why they started their business. What's the story behind it? Because most likely, whatever you were searching for to solve an issue, there's other people searching the same thing. And hey, hello, I solved the problem now. So talk about it.
So that's a good question.
Mine? Why?
Why did you start?
Why? Well, as I said, I left employed. Well, the situation moving from employed to self-employed was the company got taken over and I didn't like the new boss and we actually were clashing. So I thought, I swore, I won't say a bad word, but I swore and I said, well, I'm just going to start a new business and I'm going to take all your clients. That was the arrogance of me in the early 2000s. But it was also because I wanted time, flexibility, and a lot of money for my daughter. And it doesn't happen like that. There was crickets. Right. And so, I'm pretty sure I'm not employable anymore. I've held a few employed positions in this time, particularly after liquidation at Wiping Me Clean. I just went and got a job. I didn't particularly like being an employed person anymore because I used to be the boss and had 100 staff behind me to delegate to. That was humbling to go and do that and to then become a renter. That's a very humbling experience as well. But that's why I started my business. It was for personal reasons. I knew what I did I was great at, but I also knew I could turn it into a business. But for a personal perspective, it was for my daughter, to give her not be in daycare for the long hours that she was, and to give her a better life than what I thought I could do as an employee. That was why I started.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Usually, and that's usually how it rolls. Family is a driving force for most people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was going to say, so is your daughter involved in the business now?
Not anymore. She was very much involved. She left school at about 16. She was a very young graduate out of grade 12. And she tried the university thing and decided that she didn't like it. And so I gave her a job, just doing some admin for me. And I said, well, can you go and create a brochure? And in those days, we didn't have any of the fancy tools. We had Microsoft Word, Excel, or Publisher, if you remember that horrible piece of software.
Yes.
And went and created some brochures. And I went, damn, you're rather good at this. Create some more. So she stayed more permanently. And she worked for my large organization for a long time. I had layers of managers in. And I didn't put her in this position, but the management team put her in as the head of marketing at 19. And she had 8 people under her because she just had this natural talent for marketing. And today she's 29, and she is the head of a company nationally for marketing. And she's gone from strength to strength. And she has never been to university to get her marketing degree. She just has this amazing innate skill, and off she goes. So she's a very clever lady. Yeah.
You do realize that most of the billionaires in the world don't have any formal
I
education.
totally get that. Totally. And as I said, I only just got mine last year, and just because I wanted to know what it was to experience going to university. Didn't do it for the letters, didn't do it for any other reason. I just wanted to go, I just want to tick that box that's been naked for so long. It needs a tick in it. And so I managed to get that.
Yeah, I got my master's as well. But I mean, for me, it didn't really change a great deal. But I mean, at the time, service business for me was a little different. But back to what you do. So have you gone into another industry now? Is it more for small businesses? That's what you're doing now? Or is it you still keeping in the education field? Or
well, it's still education based. So I have one part of my business is into the vocational education sector, registered training organisations. And whilst I talk about it on LinkedIn, it's a small industry in this country, really, in the scheme of things. And thankfully, people just know that I've been around for a while and I get referrals. So that just comes through. So, for the other piece where I'm helping people who have a service business, I've got a leadership coach. I've got a chartered accountant. I've got a psychologist. I've got a guy who's in mining. Doesn't matter what industry, if you want to pull and create a bigger impact of your skill set into an online course, not accredited, none of the RTO stuff, but just escalate, go deeper and wider in your service with your clients. Because as I said, you've only got so many words in a book. They always have a limit. You only have so many minutes to do your keynote. If it's TED Talk, it's 18 minutes. You can't go too deep. And your blogs and your posts, you can't make that book size. And so there's always something that's left out, which gets shared in the conversations and in the one-on-one meetings. So for me, it's anybody who has a service business that is in that situation just goes, oh, man, I wish I could spend more time with Sally or Bob, or wish I had more time to go deeper and give them a better experience. For me, let's put it into an online program that 85% of your clients will complete. That's the key. So I don't need to be the subject matter expert of the topic, but I am the expert of how you build an online course and how you support the learner to ensure that they complete it. That's what I help people with.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I did have a question for you. So with online courses, so I always say that I didn't write a book. Most people go out and write books.
Yep.
I just did a series of videos.
Yep.
And just put it on a website. So that's what I say is I did write a book. I just did it in videos. I didn't do it
different format. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's just the way I learn. I learn kinesthetically, and
Yes.
40% of the Australian population learn kinesthetically. So
yeah.
So I'm trying to help 40% of the population.
Yeah.
But yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us about how you can make the online experience better for the audio and also the visual.
Yeah. So it's being aware, and I'm not teaching anything new. It's just about putting it into a framework. So every screen, I learned many years ago, because I owned my own learning management system, that a endless scroll on a screen for learning is boring. So the content shouldn't have any more than 500 words on the screen if it's going to be the written word. But you also, as you just alluded to, you need video, you need audio, you need the written word, but you also need the nurturing. So you need the check-ins. Like online learning is not set and forget. And I fear that a lot of business owners think, oh, well, I'll just create this online course. They'll get through it. I'll set and forget. I don't need to do anything. Off you go. Well, I can guarantee you most people won't complete it, because people need human connection. They need the hug. how are you going? So for me, it's about, what does the screen look like? Has it got a video? Has it got audio? I was often share that I had a client who I said, you need to go and create some video to expand on what your content says. So she sent it to me, and it was all stock video image, video out of Canva or wherever she got it. And I said, that's awesome. It's a wonderful video. But I said, they need your face. Really? Yeah. I said, people buy online courses initially because of you, and then see, oh, you've got an amazing amount of experience or expertise that I want to learn from you. So, this client went, oh, crikey, really? I've got to do video. I'm so uncomfortable with it. I went, and that's cool. And so I said, I don't care if you swear. I don't care if you do and ah. I don't care if you forget what you need to say. It shows you're human, and your clients will love you for it and go, oh, Joanne just said a naughty word, or she lost her thread, and she, in the video, you can see she's looking around trying to think of what to say. I said, it just makes you human, right? And I said, and the other piece is, and I've discovered this many years ago, if you turn on your phone and turn on the voice note, and you just start talking about something that you know a lot about or deeply passionate about, I said, I can guarantee you that audio will go much longer than you expected, because you'll probably go down some sort of rabbit hole, and it's got a whole bunch of gold in it. I said, I don't want you to edit it. I just want you to pick it up and put it in the course so that people can hear what you're having to say, and it supports the written word that you've got on the screen. And then we also got to make sure that they understand what they heard, what they've read, and what they've listened to. So there's checkpoints in the learning content. And it's not about assessments, but there might be a workbook to say, okay, go download this thing and go do that. And now let's have a discussion about what you've learned. Where are the things that you're stuck on? How can we support you? So online learning for me is not a set and forget. It cannot be. But it doesn't stop you doing the one-to-one, but it does allow you to get all your learners together in a group coaching. And as I often have been known to say, often when there's group coaching come together and you're supposedly the expert, often the conversation changes that no longer are you the expert. And there's all these other amazing people on the call that are sharing their expertise, what they've learned, what they've read, what they've implemented. And I go, and you just let that conversation go, and you just bring it back as you need to. All those elements is what you need to ensure that somebody continues there and completes the course. But if you need to, go find an expert out of your business and bring them in as a guest and say, we've got Sarah who's going to talk about mindset today, if that's what you need. And bring her in as a guest and just embellish and support the learning, because, as I said, online learning's lonely. You've got to do something to make the person feel, she actually cares and she does turn up. Like I know there's an organisation out there who's based in Australia that charges $10,000 to teach somebody how to make sales on Facebook. And she promises she will turn up every week live. She turns up as a recorded video webinar. And that is appalling, absolutely appalling. Like, she's not even there live. She never turns up. And you're charging $10,000 for a month to teach someone how to sell Facebook. That's not good online learning practice at all.
Yeah, and especially the price. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That price point, you need to turn up.
Yeah,
charge
you would expect.
No, don't have an issue with the number, but you expect the connection. People want to see you. As I said, they buy the course because of you, and then the content later. And people forget that. Oh, no, I'm the expert in blah, so that's what they're buying. Nope. They want you first. They want to hear you. So.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, because you're right. You need that interaction. You need that pat on the back every now and then, or that kick up the backside. And,
absolutely.
Because life gets in the way. 1 week you got heaps of time. The next week you got jack all time, and
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You need someone to set those KPIs. Can I say that?
Yeah, and that should be set up at the beginning when somebody, and they should be accepted into a course. I don't think people should just be allowed to enroll and take their money. I don't think that's good practice either. You should find a process that you can accept them and know, like if you're going to sign up for an MBA, for example, you got to be prepared to give it a number of hours per week. Well, you need to know, the person who's delivering the online course, well, what does the commitment look like for your client? And do they have capacity to meet it? Or are you being unrealistic, or are you being too light? Either way, you need to know how much time it's going to take.
Oh, absolutely. That master's degree I did was that was
Full on?
very, very difficult. Yeah, it was not easy. The degree was difficult, but this just went to another level. But yeah, and you're right. But there were teachers there that were that understood, and they've been through it. They understand that it's not that easy, and
yes,
they were able to support, I think is a better word, and give little tips on what to do and what not to do. So
exactly.
So then you understand the content better, because there's a lot of content.
There's lots of reading in a master's degree. There's no doubt about it. I agree.
Absolutely. And so you've done well. We're up to the 40-minute mark. So tell us about how you've helped a business. Give us a testimonial how you've helped a business to turn their pull those levers.
To pull those levers. Well, from the education perspective, the formal education perspective, I do have 100% success rate. In the last 2 years, we've had 5 RTOs approved, and these are year-long projects, and they're not easy. So absolutely, they're off and running, and they have been able to start delivering their courses. So tick, happy days. So one in NDIS, one in mining, supporting mining, another one in business. So different streams of education. And, the successes over the years under Navigate, it always brings me joy to talk about the COVID period, where we were fortunate. We applied for some Queensland government funding and we were approved. And that enabled us to support 10,000 businesses during COVID to actually survive it. And I always like sharing this story of a client of ours through that process, who was a cafe. We understand cafes shut down. They all had to turn into takeaway places. So one of the things that we were talking about was, well, maybe you should share more behind the scenes of your cafe. So this fellow out of Brisbane, cafe operator, shared the recipe of his chocolate brownies online and said, the brownies are for sale. I'll post them to you if you want them. And it blew our mind that someone out of Hollywood, Ashton Kutcher, he bought the chocolate brownies, loved the recipe, and talked about it to the cows come home on social media. And so that was such a win. Who would have thought that a humble cafe in Brisbane during COVID could have such a big impact, or be given that opportunity for a big impact with somebody so famous as that. So, that always brings me joy to talk about the fact that we're able to support a lot of people and navigate the challenges. This Zoom thing suddenly appeared, and we were using this weird thing that we're talking through a screen. And for me, there's been a lot of work that I've done that I haven't charged money, and I've just helped women to transition into what does it mean to be from transitioning as an employee to an employer or business owner, because the mindset is completely different. And how do you navigate that? And there's been a tidal wave of coaches arrive in the industry over the last few years of mature women leaving corporate, got an amazing skill set and knowledge, and they go, I'm going to put up a shingle of a coach, which is fantastic and awesome. But I often, when they put up the shingle to say I'm a business coach, I then will have the conversation with them and say, well, you need to have the credibility of what it is. How many businesses have you run? Well, just this one. Okay, cool. So maybe we should refine what you call yourself, because if you are a business coach, what part of business are you talking about and coaching and supporting women in, or people in, that there's credibility there? And I think that also goes to the other side, where clients who are looking for a coach don't ask the question. If you're a business coach, how many businesses have you owned? If you're a sales coach, how's your sales going? If you're a finance coach, how's your finances? Because it's got to be a two-way street of credibility to support and the person who need, and knowing what you need. So, there's many, many stories I've had, and I've had a whole bunch of people go through the master's degrees that I've done, because, as I said, I represent that company here, and there are many other women that we've supported and gone through the MBA programs and completely changed how they run their business, what service they offer, what product they deliver as a direct result of masters. So really lots of great stories and conversations I could share.
Give us one more.
Give you one more. Well, I guess the current client that I've got who's going through the one-to-many program, she's a highly skilled chartered practicing accountant, came out of corporate, wanted to put her expertise online. And, it's just lovely to see how she's going to getting herself showing up on video. I see her on LinkedIn once a week on video talking about what she does. And I love that she's gained the confidence to do that because she's turning up and sharing her story. And she's starting to build her online program, and it will launch in the next, I would say, few weeks. And it's about understanding financial literacy in small business. So she's got her passion project, and she's turning up and doing what I guided her to do. So it's lovely to see. Absolutely lovely to see.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. Like I said at the start, it's the good thing about online is that you can help so many people, and you don't have to. And like you said, you can just hire people to spread the word, and support those that are involved.
Exactly.
So that's it. And so you've got to put your systems in place, and that is a huge one. That's what you
exactly.
For sure you would have had to, especially with RTO.
So many systems, yeah. And I spent a hell of a lot of money than what you have to spend today because we didn't have the Canvas. We didn't have the AI tools and resources we have today. I spent a fairly decent sized mortgage on just rebranding my business by appointing a company out of Brisbane, whereas today you can hop into this amazing tool of Canva and all the other tools, or just hop into Claude or chat and say, I want to rebrand. This is what it needs to look like. Can you just do it? And like that, it does it. So there's so many amazing tools, and not to be overwhelmed by that opportunity because, as I said, I paid a pretty decent sized mortgage number to rebrand my business 15 years ago, and we don't have to do that anymore. Like that thing behind me, a small fee. I would have paid a lot of money for my background, that 3D of my logo, a small investment, about $50, and it does it. Like I would have paid a fortune for somebody to do that 10 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Easy.
Easy. And would take weeks. It literally took 3 minutes. I paid. Oh my God, look at that. That's amazing.
20 years ago it was pulling
teeth. It's a different story. Such a different story.
Yeah, but since the lockdowns and everything's online now.
And
a lot of people, it's not everything, but a lot of things are now online. So
exactly.
Communicate more.
Yeah.
What were we going to say?
Just to say that there's so many tools and resources today that I know a lot of people go, oh my God, not another tool, not another thing. I'm overwhelmed. Just take a breath. We have got tools today that make you so much more efficient. And the way I look at it, AI is there to enhance your performance and help you and release you from the day-to-day drudge so that you can spend more time on things like this, the things that you love, talking about your business or, doing speeches or, whatever it is, and going to find clients. As business owners, we should be celebrating that, not running away from it.
Absolutely. The only thing I'm worried about, and I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but you're right. It is a great tool. The way I look at it, it's like a coach. It basically gives you all the information that's, if you ask it the right questions, it will give you the information.
That's the important thing. And I think, good data in will give you good data out. It's like a database. It's like these AI tools. You can't use it to replace you, I don't believe, but you can also get so much gold out of it if you give it the right instruction and you quality check it.
That's right. Yeah, auditing. You got to audit the.
Yes,
That's
yes.
crazy, isn't it?
One little tip that somebody shared with me, probably late last year, and I use it today on all my commands, and it is a statement to say, unless Claude, Chat, whatever platform you're using, you are 100% sure that this is correct, please don't present it to me, but do ask me a question for me to check it. And
yeah, that's true.
That works a treat.
Absolutely. I get that. I understand.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the third question. So you probably already answered this. So tell us who's your ideal client? Who's the person?
Yeah. Well, if we talk particularly for our service professionals, so as I said, established service professional. So they're in a number of years in, they've had success. As I said, they've hit the speaker mark, the circuit. So whether it's on stage, video, podcast, whatever, YouTube, wherever you're hanging out, or they've got a book in them, whether it's their own or an anthology. Those people I know, particularly when they've launched their book, they're just thinking, oh, what's next? And a number of my clients are exactly that. So the lovely thing is, I know as I said, there's a whole bunch of words that didn't make the book. There's a whole bunch of content that didn't make the speech. And so what a lot of people think is, if I'm going to write a course, I have to write it. And I go, actually, no. You've got a book. You've got a whole bunch of things that didn't make the book. You've got your speech. You've got your blogs. You've got your podcast. You've got your articles. Actually, you've got content everywhere. So let's just sort of corral it in and put it into one spot and let me analyze it to work out, actually, you don't have to write anything. We've just got to make sense of all that chaos. And your online course will be in there. And of course, maybe you'll go a bit deeper in some areas. And so that's who I'm looking for. It can be, literally can be any industry. As I said, I've got mining, I've got psychologists, I've got a leadership coach, I've got an accountant. Vast. My expertise is how to make sense of their content to put it into an online program.
Very awesome. And I'll move on to the last question. I had to throw one health question in.
Of course.
And that's what it's called Get Busy Livin.
You knew it. I knew that. Oh, good.
So what ideas or information would you give to provide lifelong longevity?
So the one thing that I know is, and you probably can make some good assumptions, that building a $30 million business was pretty stressful, and then also winding it down and wiping me clean. So one of the things that I know that I need to do is I need to give myself permission to to put me first. So my word this year has been space. Space for me, space for my clients, space for my family. And so give myself permission. And I actually wrote a comment on a LinkedIn post this morning. A friend of mine spoke about something similar. And I said, I'm in the practice that when I need to, and I need to go sit on the floor and do some meditation, I will just go do that. Or, I'm fortunate to live about 2 kilometers from the beach on the Gold Coast. My husband will always come in about 1 o'clock and says, do you have time for a walk on the beach? And wherever I can, I will. I'll take time, that break. If it's not winter, I will go and have a swim, and I'll come back, have a shower, get dressed all over again. Yep, I will do all that and come back to work, because that space, that break just energizes me and keeps me going. So I didn't put myself first when I was building a $30 million business, and it's lucky I didn't become completely unwell, but I do today.
Very good advice. Very, very, very wise. So thank you so much for coming on, Joanne. And there's your website there. There's Joanne's website. So Navigate Biz with an 8 and .com. And there's your LinkedIn profile and also your Facebook profile. So contact Joanne if you want to know more about what she provides. And because you didn't bag me too much today, Joanne, I'm going to give you access to my health club.
So, thank you. I appreciate you. That's awesome.
I just want, it'd be great to hear your feedback. Actually,
I will. Fantastic,
because this is your
my thing.
Forte. Yeah, this is your forte. So
happy to.
Yeah, so it costs $11 for the month, and you get that for free. There's 9 modules that teach you about meditation, EFT, nutrition, exercise. Yeah, roadblocks in your mind. Yeah, you'll see it anyway.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joanne. And you've been watching the Get Busy Livin podcast. And you guys, you have a great day, and you all take care.
Thank you.